How to get a hard rock underground mining job using insider knowledge. Welcome to Australian Mining for New Starters, and in today's video we're just going to run through the blog that I wrote a couple of weeks ago on how to get a hard rock underground mining job using insider knowledge. So there's nothing like using a bit of inside knowledge to get ahead. For those that are chasing a career in the hard rock underground mining industry, following these steps, usually using some insider knowledge, will give you the best chance to getting a job. So there's the steps there, and let's go through them. So start with step number one, knowing what type of job you're looking for. Entry-level jobs you are looking for are the nipper, truck operator, diamond drill offsider, ADGI. If you prepare yourself properly, you can get a pace crew or a service crew job. So shout out to Mick, who got himself a pace crew job, so he started on pace crew. So well done, mate, to that. And yeah, you can start on some really seriously decent money if you prepare yourself properly. So if you hit this, it'll take you over to the Seek Underground. So this is all the jobs come up, and as you scroll through, you will see that everybody is having to put new people on all over the country for the nipper, truck and offsider roles. There's just not enough people with experience around, and even though a lot of the employers are insisting on experienced truck drivers, if there are no experienced truck drivers available, then they'll have to hire somebody with no experience because they need somebody in the truck driving the truck. And you can see all the entry-level jobs that are coming up. So that's where the majority of the new starter jobs are at the moment, and employers need bums on seats. They want experienced people, yes, but they just aren't around. Traditionally, if the employers can't get experienced people, they'll have to look at entry-level people. The employers often have new starters send their resumes into experienced job ads and will often choose people from there. The employers like people that are proactive. So part of the training that we do with the sponsors training, if you do it, it teaches you which jobs to send it into, and it also gets you to send it into experienced jobs. A lot of people that get jobs through the training are answering experienced ads because they understand what's going on with the industry and how it all works. Next is to understand what the Hard Rock Underground employers want in an employee. The employers all want the same thing, someone that knows how their mine works, understanding the jobs they will have to do, and working knowledge of what's going to be expected of them on site. It's like hiring for anything else. If you've got two people there and somebody's got an idea of what's going on and the other person needs to be trained from scratch, then you're always, the person that's sort of got understands what's going on is always more desirable. It's the same with mining. Even if you've got no practical experience, they still would rather somebody that's got a fundamental understanding of how the mine works and the terms used than somebody that's completely green. But it makes it difficult for the employers when they have to hire and train on site, unfortunately. It becomes sink or swim training, and it leads to a high turnover of new starters. So if you go in green not knowing anything on day one, then more than 50% of people fail, unfortunately. That's one of the reasons why the sponsors training was written back in the day, was to try and help out with all that. It also makes it very difficult for new starters to land their first job. You can't get a job without training, yet you can't get training without the job, and that's another reason why the training was written. It's a loop that's hard to break into, and that's why Underground Training wrote the training packages that they've got. It's only the training available in Australia that teaches you the exact jobs that require for the nipper, truck operator, diamond driller offsider, ADGI operator, pace crew and service crew jobs. So knowing how the employer's mine works allows you to break the circle. It also helps knowing that the employers can't use the R2 ticketing system. The employers have to issue their own equipment tickets on site and procedures on site. These are non-transferable and have to be redone on each site you move to. This is why the job ads only ask for experience, not formal qualifications. Once you complete the training, you need to apply for all the jobs, like I said, no matter how much experience they ask for. Being able to answer the mining employer's questions in the interview, it gives the employers the confidence to hire, and you can check out all the people that have made it work for themselves on the Wall of Fame page. I've already given somebody a shout out in this video that's made it work for them. So then next is important to understand the employment process. So I've got a few people going through medicals at the moment that have done work ready, and they're they're in this process, and sometimes it drags out a little bit. So you've got to understand that it's all about the project manager or the foreman that decides who gets hired. All the HR department, a very important job, collecting resumes, organising interviews, medicals, police clearances, and all the paperwork involved for starting a new employee, but they don't often have much input into who gets hired. That's down to the foreman or the project manager. This means that the employment process has to be built around the foreman or the PM schedule. Now, that can often be a stop-start process, and like I said, I've got a few people that are experiencing that at the moment as foremen and project managers go on their week off or their 2 weeks off, depending on what sort of cycle they're on. Things can stop dead, and then they also pick up again quite quickly when the person gets back. It also stops when they go on days off. The foreman or project manager are busy people, and hiring new starters isn't often high on the to-do list. No, it's not. And whenever you get into a boom like this, however, these days in the new boom, it's always on the to-do list. It's just something that always happens because of the turnover. You can never seem to get enough new starters through. Unfortunately, with the sink or swim training employers are forced to use, there's a high turnover of new people. Again, the training helps you avoid this. The high turnover makes it a constant chore for the foreman and the project managers, and that's what they look at it like. It's a chore, so you need to understand that. This is why interviews can be very short sometimes. They can be less than 10 minutes, and they can be at odd times, like in afternoons, on the weekends, or early in the morning, and that's all to fit around the project manager or the foreman's schedule. Now, next, creating a resume that will get read. So an experienced Hardrock Underground miner's resume looks a certain way. It's starting at the last mine that they worked on, working backwards from there. It will list the jobs that they did, how long they did it for, and the different machines they used. It's maybe 2, maybe 3 pages max without a cover letter. It makes it easy for a foreman and project manager to cull resumes on size and content. If your resume is 5+ pages long and full of R2 tickets that they can't use, then it's going to get culled. When you're applying for a new starter, applying as a new starter, you need to put whatever you think is going to get you the job on the front page. For those that complete the training, we make sure the underground training course is on page 1. You only have roughly 6 seconds when the foreman or the project manager look at these resumes, because you either know something about mining or you got some skills relevant to mining, or you don't, and it's as simple as that. So you either know something about mining or you don't, and with that, hundreds of resumes they get, it becomes really simple to cull things. So number 5, interview prep and knowing what the foreman or the PM want. So the easiest way to impress the foreman is showing them in the interview that you know exactly what you're getting yourself into. Being able to use the correct terms and language when answering the questions is what gets you over the line. Teaching people to drive the truck is the easy bit. Putting all the mining knowledge into someone so they can be left alone and to be safe to be a safe and productive member of crew, that's the hard part. And that's what they struggle with, and that's why they have so much turnover. You're not safe until if you still need a babysitter, or if you still need to be pointed in the right direction, if you're still asking questions about how things go and all that sort of stuff, and you're sort of 3 or 4 swings into it, you've got to be ready for that tap on the shoulder, because they cut their losses. If they think that you're not going to pick it up, they'll move on to the next person. So it's really important that you go in confident and knowing what you're getting yourself into. So if a foreman and project manager can find somebody that's done the training and study, it only takes 5 minutes for the foremen to work out if you know your stuff. There's some simple questions that they ask. You either know the mining knowledge or you don't. Then it's an easy win for them. They get someone that finds their feet in weeks instead of the months it normally takes with green people and without all the turnover. So 90% of the people that do the training that get jobs make it past the first 6 months mark. And that's because they know what they're getting themselves into and they're prepped properly for it. That's why the employers interview, but you have to know your stuff. Get the mining questions wrong or use the wrong terms, then they'll move on. But get those mining questions right and it quickly becomes a no-brainer for the employers, and you can see what type of mining questions there are by clicking on this link, and that'll take you to a page with some mining questions on it. But it's a no-brainer when a foreman finds somebody that knows what a refuge chamber is, knows what a jumbo is, knows what they're going to have to do if a rock slides down their scaling bar, all that sort of stuff. If you've got all that knowledge in your head and they don't have to put it into you, they see it as a huge win. So number 6 is casting the widest net possible job hunting. So most employers run ads every couple of weeks for the nipper, truck operator, diamond drill operator. So we've already had a bit of a look at those. There's jobs going everywhere. New South Wales, Western Australia, Queensland, South Australia. Everybody's looking for everything in every state. So just be aware of that. So you need to cast the widest net possible. You need to be able to apply for all the job ads, no matter how much experience these ads ask for. So all the nipper, truck and operator and off-sider jobs, still apply for it even if it asks for 6 or 12 months experience if you've done the training. It's best to do it on a daily basis as the jobs come up. Set aside 30 minutes a day is normally enough. Just don't stop applying until you get to site with your first job. It's really important that if you do get to the stage where you've interviewed and you've medicaled but you're still waiting to get on site, don't stop the employment process. Still keep on applying for jobs, because I don't know how many times it's happened to me and it's happened to other people within the industry. The mining gods don't like it when you put all your eggs into one basket sometimes. So if you think that you're going to get this particular job and you stop looking for other jobs, that's normally when the rug gets pulled out from underneath you. So just be aware of that. I tell people to keep chasing all the jobs opportunities that they have until they actually physically get on site with a job. And then if somebody offers you another job, you can always politely decline and say thank you, but I've already got one. And that's much better having that phone call than not having pursued it and missing out on the job altogether. So if you're living in a mining hub that does FIFO like Perth, Brisbane, Townsville, Adelaide, then it's all about being ready for the opportunities come up. So when they advertise, and they advertise on a fairly regular basis. If you go back and have a look through the videos on the channel, you see we've been looking at job ads for almost 3 years now, and it's the same employers looking for the same jobs, because they've just turned over the people and they just need to keep putting people through. So you need to be ready for when the opportunities come up. If you really want to make it happen as soon as possible, then relocating to a mining town like Kalgoorlie or Cobar or Mount Isa is a great way to go. So I hope you found that information helpful. If you want to have a go at getting yourself, it doesn't cost much or take long to teach. There's about 50 hours worth of important information to go through. You can get that out of the DIY package, which is this one, DIY Introduction to Underground Mining. You get these online courses. You do them all through the website here. It opens up on a laptop, on your iPad, or on your phone. It's all the latest training software, and it goes through all the important information that the employers want you to know. The other one that you can do is the Work Ready package, and the Work Ready package is the one where you get a shift boss to give you a hand to go through it all. It becomes our job to make sure that you've understood all the mining information. We do interview prep, get your resume done for you, come up with a plan of where and how you're going to try and get in. The reason for the price difference is because shift bosses are expensive these days, and people that know what they're doing about mining are very expensive these days. So it's just up to you whether you want to do it yourself or whether you want the support that comes with getting an experienced person to help you. But I hope you found that information helpful, and have a read of the blog yourself. A lot of good information in there, a couple of videos there to watch as well, but there's so much work around at the moment, and you can use this bit of inside knowledge that you get from the training to get yourself a job quite easily. Lots of people have, you can do it for yourself. So I hope you found that information helpful, and if you've got any more questions that you'd like to ask, please send them through. If you could like the video and share it around and subscribe to the channel, that would be wonderful. Thanks.